Are you struggling to build TensorFlow graphs inside functions? You're not alone. Many learners face this challenge, and today we're going to unravel the mystery together. I completely understand how frustrating it can be when your code doesn't work as expected. You might feel like you're hitting a wall, especially when you're trying to learn something as complex as TensorFlow. Let's dive into the specific question at hand. One user asked, "Why am I getting an error when trying to use a feed dictionary with a placeholder inside a function?" They shared their code, which should simply print out the number 4, but instead they encountered an error. Sound familiar? Let's explore this together. So what's going wrong here? The error message indicates that the placeholder is not recognized as part of the graph. This often happens when the placeholder is defined in a different scope than where it is being used. Let's break this down. And stick around. At the end of this video, I'll share a best practice that can help you avoid this issue in the future. To resolve the issue, the user should first ensure that the placeholder is accessible outside the function. This can be done by returning both the graph and the placeholder from the build graph function. Next, the user should unpack the returned values when calling the build graph function. This way, they can access the placeholder directly in the session. Now, the user can proceed to create the TensorFlow session. They should ensure that the feed dictionary uses the placeholder that was returned from the function. Finally, the user can run the code. If everything is set up correctly, it should print out the expected result of 4 without any errors. Fun fact, did you know that TensorFlow was originally developed by researchers and engineers from the Google Brain team? It's come a long way since then. Now let's look at the answers provided by other users. An alternative approach suggested by another user involves naming your placeholders and operations. By giving A and B names, you can easily reference them later. For example, you can define A as a placeholder with a name and add B with a name as well. Then, you can create a session with the graph and use a feed dictionary to run the session. This method helps avoid the error related to private placeholders. The user notes that naming is not strictly necessary, but it simplifies referencing later. They also encourage sharing any better solutions you might find. Here's the best practice I promised. Always keep your graph and tensors organized. This will save you a lot of headaches down the line. And there you have it. With these adjustments, you should be able to build TensorFlow graphs inside functions without any issues. If you found this video helpful, please subscribe for more tips and tricks on mastering TensorFlow.